Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome into Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt, and happy spring. Spring officially arrived today at 4:24, the vernal equinox. And as we move ahead this time of the year, it can be kind of tricky because it's cold outside, but the sun's rays with each day, they grow more direct. So it doesn't take as long to develop sunburn. That UV index is on the increase. So even though you wake up on some chilly spring mornings, make sure you add the sunscreen to the out-the-door checklist. Let's get over to our first alert weather headlines, and beginning with the freezing temperatures. Look at this. Today, 17 at Haleyville. We set a record low in Anniston and Tuscaloosa. Didn't quite get to record level at Birmingham. We were close at 23 degrees. Here's the thing. Temperatures like this, the chance of seeing another morning like this year are extremely low. For the rest of the month, I'm not seeing a freeze for the rest of March. So we are going to have freezing tonight. Let me say that. But after tonight, I don't see another cold snap happening this month. Maybe as we get into April, there's a chance. I was looking at some of the long-range data. The GFS was more robust with some of the colder air, which it typically is in the long range, and it suggested that maybe early April. But we're going to go beyond the 7-day with Lauren here coming up. That's another thing we'll do, is take a look at some of those long-range temperatures. We might early April get into frost territory, but not seeing anything like what we just had today to start today. Tonight, though, more freezing temperatures, and it won't be as bad as last night. We'll touch freezing, maybe down to 27, 26 degrees, some of those outlying areas to the north and east. But after that, tomorrow morning, again, you see these freezing temperatures. After that, we start to warm up. A nice rebound tomorrow. We'll see those afternoon highs reaching into the 60s, 70s on Wednesday. And by the way, Wednesday, there's a pretty good chance we can see some showers there. We may need to bump up that rain chance. And then as we get into Friday and Friday night, there's going to be a risk for severe weather already. We are looking at the Storm Prediction Center. They have another outlook over the state, which I believe we've had only like 2 weeks since January. We haven't seen some sort of risk, but just to kind of put this into context for you of what we expect, we do see some of those ingredients where we have the instability. We see some of the wind energy, so we will need to watch it there on Friday evening, Friday night for the possibility of some strong to severe storms across our area. Last night's data shifted a bit back to the west, but I want to point out that some of the new data that's in today at noon has shifted that threat back to the east a bit. So we'll need to watch it Friday night, Friday evening, especially while it's still kind of unstable into the evening. But this is several days out. A lot can change, and certainly there's a chance that this could improve. But just in case we continue to see those ingredients lining up for Friday, just check the forecast this week. Check in with us. Stay weather aware. Check the app. We're going to pass on plenty of updates every day. We'll certainly keep you posted on that threat for Friday evening. But we'll have the full 7-day forecast. That is coming up right here on Weather Extra. And also, we're going to show you more on this record-breaking cold, not only for us, but around the country, what we've been dealing with. Rip current safety as we talk spring break, Colorado avalanches, all that snow we've been talking about. Those are record-setting snow amounts back into parts of Utah as well. And help for California flood victims as we continue right here on Weather Extra.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
Some people may think you're overreacting. Some may ask, is there a storm coming? That's okay, because knowing the first alert has helped you beat the rush. Being prepared puts you in control and changes the what if to you're okay. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
plans for this weekend. We have a first alert for a wintry mix. They could.
When you need to know next week, tomorrow, or even right now, the WBRC First Alert Weather Team is always on your side, whenever and wherever you need us. This is why we First Alert.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Lenahan. No denying this cold is not normal for Central Alabama. Granted, we get cold snaps every spring, but we did see some record-breaking cold today. We check in now with meteorologist Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson to see just how cold it got.
Mickey!
Yeah.
Happy, I'm sorry, first day of spring.
Yeah.
Happy first day of spring.
Yeah, happy first day of spring.
Didn't feel like it though.
No, you sprung me.
Sorry about that. Hey, you know, it's been super cold this weekend. In fact, we actually broke some records yesterday on Sunday.
I believe you. It was cold and that wind was a little brutal too.
That's right. So Tuscaloosa, you broke 2 records yesterday on the 19th. First of all, you tied your record low of 28 degrees set back in 1985. You also ended up with the coolest high temperature. They call that the record daily low maximum. It's a little confusing, but it's the coolest high temperature. So you ended up with a high temperature of 47 degrees. The old record was 49 back in 1956, and the same thing happened in Anniston. Your high temperature was 44. The old record was 47 back in 1947.
Do you break a record if you tie a record?
Yeah, I call it a tie.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Look at the frost. Tyler
Yeah.
Young sent it in. It's nice.
Yeah, from Trussville. So thank you for sending that photo in, and more frost in this photo here, Mickey.
Did we spell his name correctly?
That was in the app, so I just put it that way. I'm not sure.
All right, Mr. Flores sent in frosty morning.
There you go. And if you got some photos, send them through the WBRC First Alert Weather app. We also want to give a shout out to our weather watchers, always giving us those reports in the morning and afternoons with the highs and the lows. And these are some of those lower temperatures recorded this morning.
Yeah, our weather watchers were frozen solid this morning, but fortunately have had time to thaw out.
20 degrees.
Yeah, that's a really cold Rick Freeman. And Sarah Porter, 20 degrees, bless her heart.
That's right. We got 21 degrees out of Trussville and Concord, 23 in Coker, and 24 in Alabaster.
John King's mustache was just frozen solid.
I knew you were going to mention. We love you, John, by the way. Hey, and this is some reports from those observations. Haleyville, 17 degrees, Mickey. 21 in Jasper, 21 in Pell City.
And there's some of those records, Anniston and Tuscaloosa, that were broken.
That's right. So just make sure, we're going to get more updates from the National Weather Service. Why, you're a good duck.
My phone just went off. Sorry. We're all right. Hey, record low temperatures for 320. That's Birmingham at 21 degrees, Tuscaloosa at 26, Anniston at 26. And some of those fell.
Yeah, that's right. Tuscaloosa and Anniston definitely broke those records. Of course, we'll get official reports later on today into tomorrow morning. And if you're wondering, could we break record low temperatures tomorrow? It doesn't look very likely.
I was wondering.
Well, here you go. 19 is the record for Birmingham, 22 in Tuscaloosa, and 18. I doubt we're going to get this cold. Tomorrow morning won't be.
That's pretty brutal, isn't it?
That's pretty cold
But this was our coldest night of the year so far.
For 2023, you're right, and hopefully it's the last. It'd be great.
Yeah. I'm
starting to warm up a little bit.
I am done with it.
All right.
Happy spring.
Birmingham police are investigating a man's death this weekend. Authorities say that he was found lying on the ground next to a park bench in Norwood. Police say they believe the man was homeless. So far, no word on a cause of death, but certainly keeping in mind those cold temperatures this weekend. Despite the arrival of spring, other parts of the country continue to also struggle with dangerous winter weather. Take a look at these images out of South Dakota. This is all due to reduced visibility from snow and slick roads caused this semi-truck to nearly flatten a highway patrol cruiser. The trooper was stopped on the side of the road to control traffic after an earlier crash. The Highway Patrol's Facebook page says the injuries were only minor. And some people are choosing to stay indoors, though, thanks to the below average temperatures. But hey, humans aren't the only ones. We're talking about critters like bugs and, unfortunately, rats and mice. A local pest control company told WBRC it saw a 150% increase in customer calls last week. Alan Farmer, the owner of Farmer Smart Pest Control, says it all has to do with these roller coaster temperatures that we have been no stranger to lately. Farmer says pests are looking for food, water, and shelter. He says one of the best things you can do to keep critters out is not giving them a place to hide.
They like clutter, that gives them places to hide, and they also like food and crumbs, and of course with mice and rats, they eat the same food that we do. So they like to, hang out where we're a little messy, maybe around the stove area, and that's where we find a lot of cockroach problems as well. So general sanitation is the #1 key to protecting your home against pests and rodents.
In the garage. If you have a pet, don't leave their food just sitting out. If you see a rodent, act fast because there are likely more. I have to say, I saw my first rat this weekend. I was visiting Chicago. My friend said Chicago has a rat problem. What do you know? We were sitting at a brewery and little rat zipped right past. He was real cute though, but I was glad he was at a safe distance. Anyway, we have a new report in today from the United Nations, and it says the Earth is rapidly approaching catastrophic levels of warming. The report says the impact of global warming is already more severe than initially expected, and we are hurtling towards dangerous consequences. The report says the biggest threat to climate change action is the world's addiction to burning fossil fuels, and governments are still approving oil, gas, and coal projects. The temporary patch for a breached levee in Pajaro, California was completed over the weekend. Thousands of people had to evacuate from the community when it flooded earlier this month. Hundreds still remain in shelters. As flood waters recede, most will have to wait for inspections before they can return home. In the meantime, neighboring towns are making sure no one goes hungry. Leslie Duarte has the story.
On Sunday, the community came together to aid Pajaro flood victims.
It's super important to come out and help the community when in need.
A local business owner made over 300 hot sandwiches, and a group of women from Watsonville brought homemade meals like pozole and tamales.
Acá está la línea, por favor. La línea es acá.
The organizers say they do this so evacuees don't have to worry about how they will pay for their next meal.
Para pues un poco aminorar sus gastos también porque no pueden estar pagando el hotel, la comida. Entonces, si nosotros podemos aportar con un granito de arena, con mucho gusto lo hacemos.
Hundreds of Pajaro evacuees are staying at the evacuation shelter in Watsonville, but many have decided to stay elsewhere, like their cars. Monterey County says they have the capacity to take in more people and hope those who are sleeping in their cars come to the shelter instead.
We want to serve the needs of the people, so they can come to any of our shelters without any trepidation whatsoever, and they'll be greeted by compassionate people who care and who want to help.
As for the return home, Monterey County is still evaluating the damage and is currently in phase 2 of the 4-step plan to get people back into their homes.
These are door-to-door inspections, house-to-house inspections, so it does take time.
In the meantime, neighbors say they will continue to help those in need.
And though rain is still expected in California, as of right now, forecasters in the area aren't expecting any more catastrophic flooding. Coming up on First Alert Weather Extra, we're going to have our own wet weather to deal with later this week, and a first alert for storms. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt takes a look at that super 7-day forecast, and I'll take you beyond the 7-day to show you if we do have some warmer days ahead now that it's officially spring. We'll be right back.
West Shore Home is making shower and bath remodeling easy and more affordable for everyone. Hey everybody, I'm joined by Kirsten Page from West Shore to find out exactly how they're making that happen. Kirsten.
So Joe, we've been able to give homeowners, over 165,000 of them, the shower and bath of their dreams by making it a fast, easy, and convenient experience. But now we're making it even more affordable to start your project without breaking the bank.
Now Kirsten, when someone starts a remodeling project, costs can be a real concern. So how are you making it more affordable to start that project right now?
So instead of me telling you, why don't I show you? This homeowner was having some problems with their old shower. They called us, we stopped out, and we completely removed the old bathtub and replaced it with a walk-in shower in just one day. The best part? We can do a job like this for as low as $99 a month.
$99 a month. That's incredible.
It really is. We understand that budgets can be a little tighter this time of the year, so we want to make it easier for folks to get their projects started right now. So let's go ahead and look at another project we recently did. This homeowner was so excited to get rid of their old bathtub because they were getting an easy, low-step shower. You can see here we took out that old bathtub and removed everything down to the studs. Then we installed new walls and fixtures. By dinner time, this homeowner had their brand new shower, and the best part, they didn't need to worry about paying for their entire project up front. They were able to break it down into low monthly payments.
That project looks amazing, and the low monthly payments is going to make getting that project started so much easier. Kirsten, thanks so much. Folks, West Shore Home is making shower and bath remodeling fast and convenient, and you heard Kirsten, now they're making it more affordable too with their easy, low monthly payments. Call the number on your screen right now to start your project, and when you do, take advantage of this great offer. Call in now to get your new shower for as little as $99 a month. On top of that, they're doing free installation on all shower and bath projects. Don't delay. Call the experts at West Shore Home now.
Welcome back into Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt with that 7-day forecast. Notice we have a chance of rain coming back on Wednesday as we start to warm up here. As we look at Thursday, you can see 80 degrees, 81 Friday, rainstorms coming back Friday night and into Saturday. 72 there for Saturday, 76 on Sunday. This will be the last night where we're going to have temperatures like this right at freezing, at least for this month. We're going to break out of this cold pattern. And as we look out there tonight, we've had some high cirrus clouds. Higher altitude, thin. Mostly what you're looking at there is all ice clouds as we call it, that are streaming in from the west direction. But what happens is that really brings out some of those vibrant colors and a beautiful sunset this evening. If you have our First Alert weather app, share those sunset photos with us. We should have some incredible views, as this view is from our Sky Vision at the University of Montevallo here in Shelby County. 51 right now, Haleyville. We're already down to 46 in Coleman. That's one area tonight. We could be as low as 26, 27 degrees, some of those outlying areas, but we'll all touch freezing again early tomorrow morning. Just some thin clouds moving across the state, as you can see here, through the early morning hours, back to freezing tomorrow during the day. Nice recovery in those temperatures. Will rise into the 60s during the afternoon. And then what's going to happen, notice the wind south-southeast at 10 miles per hour. So as that Gulf flow returns, we start to warm up over the next couple of days, and that moisture starts to lift in over the cooler air that's been in place, the cooler, dry air. That's going to generate even more clouds and a little bit of rainfall. It looks like by early on Wednesday. Notice how we could get some rain to the north. Some of the new data coming in is quite impressive. And this is actually, if you remember last week, we were talking about Tuesday night and Wednesday, we could see a little bit of rain. This is that same system that we've been telling you about there. So certainly we don't want to look past this. There's going to be some impacts for parts of the area Wednesday. Some shower activity possible, especially in areas to the north. You can see that's where we have the greatest chance in the morning through about lunchtime, and then we'll probably see that thin out later on in the day. So kind of cool for those areas to the north. But that warmer air continues to build in. We'll be in the 80s by Thursday and also into Friday. But also need to watch Friday night, because that's when we're seeing a more potent system of upper level disturbance that's going to move across the region here, and it's going to send a line of rain and storms across Alabama. We're seeing some of the ingredients. Does everything phase up here? A lot of times we talk about this severe weather. It's often as challenging as forecasting winter weather. I mean, you have all these ingredients that need to line up, and every week it seems like we've had at least an outlook for whether it's marginal, slight, some sort of risk for parts of Alabama. But just to try to put some context on this of what you can actually expect out of this, we're going to deal with some storms, and the instability, as you can see, it's there according to some of the global data with this go around. That's something that really wasn't in place with that last system that we had, but you can see a little bit of energy. And also when you see these arrows here, that's where the model is actually showing those winds aloft that are just racing out of the southwest. So you do have a little bit of directional wind shear, certainly some speed shear with this particular system. It's going to be moving in for Friday night and into Saturday morning. So if things continue to trend in this direction, that would favor a possibility of some severe storms, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes. So we'll need to watch out for that Friday Friday night and into Saturday. Hopefully it trends for the better, but just, take comfort in knowing this is several days out and a lot can certainly change. So hopefully this will trend for the better. 81 on Friday this weekend. Saturday, that chance of rain is going to happen primarily with that Friday night overnight situation there. So during the day, if you have plans for Saturday, should be in good shape, although it might be a little bit breezy out there. 72 degrees, and then we have a little bit of isolated scattered shower activity coming back for Sunday. And then talking a little bit about Monday there, let's go to meteorologist Lauren Linehan. And Lauren, you were taking a look at some of that forecast data and the possibility that we could see some storms there perhaps with that system on Monday.
Yeah, Wes, this is certainly something we want to keep an eye on if we are going to eventually switch to a pattern with above average temperatures. In the springtime, you see that, you'll want to watch out for any potential for severe weather. So as we look at that 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, areas across the west still looking at below average temperatures. And then in the southeast and along the Gulf Coast, and that does include us here in central Alabama, above average temperature. So if this cold, you're really tired of it, it's the first day of spring, you need some more warm temperatures, this is certainly looking good for us. So let's crunch the numbers here. Wes was mentioning that potential for some rain as we get into next Monday. Right now, we're not necessarily seeing a guarantee for storms, but we'll certainly watch it when you have temperatures in the 70s. Not out of the question to get some rumbles of thunder at least. And then still looking at generally above average temperatures as we go into the following weekend, which, believe it or not, is the first weekend of April. I swear this year is just flying by. Maybe a little cool down once we get into early April. But right now we're not seeing really anything in the way of freezing temperatures as we get into next week. Now, I mentioned temperatures generally running above average as we wrap out March, but as we go into that first weekend of April, look what happens. We could have some storminess to wrap up March, and then heading into April seeing some below average temperatures. So possibly, as Wes was mentioning, early April is when we need to watch for that next frost and or freeze threat, which is why we always encourage, hey, just wait to plant until mid-April. That's normally a safe bet. But as we mentioned, warmer temperatures. Could we see some precipitation in the forecast? And if so, could that facilitate severe weather? Well, as we look across the eastern half of the U.S., still looking like the possibility for above average precipitation. So let's see what those potential storm tracks could be beyond the 7-day. Here we are next Tuesday, March 28th, showing a system departing central Alabama. That's that same system that could be coming in Monday and bring some lingering rain and storms into Tuesday. And then here we are March 29th, next Wednesday. As of right now, looking cloudy, still relatively unsettled. We see this ridge of high pressure building in over the Gulf of Mexico, and on the northern periphery of that ridge, you can get disturbances moving through that can help to create some more unsettled weather. So towards the end of next week, here we are on the last day of March, March 31st on Friday. This is the next system I think we need to watch beyond the 7-day. Is the possibility for possibly some strong storms going into late that week. Hopefully we just get some rain and thunderstorms run the mill, but we know it's spring. We know we are in our peak severe weather season. So that's going to be the one to watch as we head into that first weekend of April, potentially still seeing some wet and stormy weather on April 1st, that next weekend on Saturday, before we cool down and any rain moving out towards the Gulf Coast. So we'll be keeping a close eye on these. In the meantime, we're not seeing any possibility of snow here in central Alabama, but a very different story for our friends in the Rockies. Unfortunately, avalanches in Colorado killed 2 people over the weekend. Authorities say one person died near Marble and was found buried in 4 feet of snow on Saturday. A second person died in Aspen on Sunday. 2 other skiers got caught in the avalanche but managed to free themselves. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center says avalanches have killed 9 people so far during this ski and snowboarding season. Well, coming up on First Alert Weather Extra, a different threat to monitor here along the Gulf Coast if you're headed that way for spring break. We'll be right back.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
know, weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
The first alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. If you're headed down to the coast for spring break, the city of Gulf Shores wants travelers to be mindful of the rip current risk. One spring breaker has already been swept away by a current. Luckily, they were okay. Officials say it's a reminder to pay attention to flags at the beach, and if they're red, don't get in the water. Alcohol is currently banned on the beaches at Gulf Shores for spring break. Safety leaders say mixing alcohol and rough waves is a dangerous combination you should avoid at all costs. Well, here at home, where the ocean isn't quite close enough, let's take a check on that Super 7-day forecast. So tomorrow, you still are going to need that warm coat when you walk out the door in the morning. Make those cold weather preps one more night, and then we get to thaw out a little bit. 60s for a high tomorrow. Chance of some showers across North Alabama on Wednesday. We'll have to see if that manages to get far south enough towards that I-20 corridor for more of us in our area to see any impacts in the way of rain. And then much warmer. Checking out those surging temperatures on Thursday and Friday, getting into the low 80s. So spring gets here a little late for our taste, but with that comes the possibility of some storms Friday night into Saturday. Still keeping an eye on that severe risk, but we can at least account for some rain and strong storms in the forecast. Also looks like it could be a little windy going Friday into early Saturday, and then the weather pattern still looks unsettled and warm going into early next week. So I promise spring is on the way. In the meantime, check back in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt tonight for an update on the forecast on First at 9, and you can join us here on Weather Extra on your favorite streaming platform every Monday through Friday at 6:30. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Monday evening.